Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for The Amazing Spider-Man issue 700.5. And I actually have the variant cover for this also. I got both covers because I really like both. Really cool Human Torch Spider-Man cover, and of course Mary Jane and Spider-Man cover. So I love both those covers. It's got the variant for that. So got that. Before I start talking about this issue though, I do want to give you guys a couple updates. Of course, I do have a topic video this week, but it was posted a couple of days ago, my first screenplay, so if you want to go check that out, that'll be annotated. Comment if you want. I love comments. Also, of course, I have Comic Uno episode 27, and that is the show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show on DarkAvengerINC, and here are those exclusive comics. We got Trisha Out of Water, issue 3. Amazing Spider-Man, issue 700.4. Green Lantern New Guardians, issue 26. Daredevil, issue 34. Rogues Rebellion, issue 3. Animal Man, issue 26. And Batman and Two-Face, issue 26. So if you want to go check out all those reviews, go to Comic Uno episode 27 and go check that out. And I'll be annotated. But let's talk about Amazing Spider-Man issue 700.5. And honestly, I didn't even know about this cover until this week. And when I saw this cover, I'm like, we're going to get some Mary Jane Spider-Man. Of course, you guys know. I think you guys could see it. If you can't, I'm sorry. You can kind of see it. But this poster is actually Spider-Man and Mary Jane, their marriage poster. Point being, big Mary Jane and Spider-Man fan. So I was looking totally forward to this. And then I see the variant cover with Human Torch and Spider-Man. And I love when they team up. I love their friendship. And I love old-time Fantastic Four. So I was like, wow, this might be a really good combination. So let's see if it was a good combination. So two great covers. And let's see if I like story. So in this issue, we get to see Johnny Storm. He's rushing into Peter's house, and every single time he wants to go to sleep. I think there's a lot of times this week that Peter just wants to go to bed, and he's like, "Oh, I'm ready to go to bed." And Johnny's like, "Wait, Peter, you have to help me. There's this bomb thing I can't give Reed because future Ben Grimm says I can't give it to him." So, you know, the rest of the Fantastic Four goes to Peter's apartment. They're like, "Come on, Johnny, you can trust us. Don't worry, we'll figure this out." So Johnny's like, "No, I can't trust you." He runs out, flies out, and he goes to the one person he feels like he could trust, and that's Mary Jane's apartment. And Mary Jane's like, "What are you guys doing here?" And Mary Jane's like, "What is the Fantastic Four doing in my apartment?" So now they're trying to figure out what do they do with this package. And they're trying to figure out, and they only need to save it for one day. So if things happen well by sundown, then everything's good. And Mary Jane's like, "What the hell are the Fantastic Four doing in my house?" And it's like, if I want the world to end, I don't want it to happen in my apartment. And they're like, all right, Peter's like, all right, it's almost sundown. Let's just see what's in this package. And Ben Grimm plays a joke and says, ha ha, the Calvin mechanism doesn't do nothing. Gotcha, kiddo. Love Ben. So future Ben Grimm uses time machine to play a prank on Johnny. And then we see in the end of the issue, you know, Peter, he goes to bed and everything, and he's just happy that he's asleep. And then the future Johnny Storm, he comes to do the same thing that Ben, and Ben's like, this already happened a day ago. He's like, damn it, I'm late. And Ben's like, this is what we use with time machines in the future? And it's like, why are we using time machines like this? So that was the first story. And then we get the second story about this kid who saves Spider-Man, or tries to save Spider-Man, and he gets shot in the back because of it. And Peter is really, really guilty about it, talks to Mary Jane about it. It seems like they're living together also, so let's just say they're married, let's just say that. So MJ tries to comfort Peter about it, and Peter does go to the hospital as Peter, and you know, he's like, "I'm really sorry what I did. You shouldn't have done this. You know, I'm a bad role model. I shouldn't have done that." And the boy, before he dies, even says, "No, I know you're Spider-Man. It's obvious that you're Spider-Man. You wouldn't come. A stranger wouldn't come to my room if you weren't. And you did the right thing. You're my hero." And he dies after that. And he actually wrote a comic about his favorite hero, and when he goes through hardship, he's like, what would Spider-Man do? And he makes a comic book about it, and Spider-Man has that in his hand at the boy's funeral, because the boy does die in the end. I love both these stories. This is classic Spider-Man. I have to say I probably enjoyed this more than 700.1 and 700.2 because everything I loved was in this issue about Spider-Man and even the Fantastic Four. Because you guys know I really haven't read a lot of current Fantastic Four stuff because I just couldn't get into it after Jonathan Hickman and everything. And didn't really like Matt Fraction's run that much. But I really love old-time Fantastic Four. You know, I really grew up with it. I have a lot of back issues. So I'm a big fan of old-time Fantastic Four. So having that and having the joke between Ben and Johnny was hilarious. And then having Mary Jane in the middle of this was perfect. I love this issue. The art was, you know, it was okay. The art, I could totally look away about that. Because it is pretty good art, you know, I did like the art, especially like over here, it's pretty good, but, you know, I've seen a little bit better with the faces, but overall, I just love this issue, and then that last story got to you. I definitely choked up with that last story, you know, like, no, Spider-Man, you're my hero, and then Spider-Man, you know how much guilt he puts onto himself, he's like, you can't put guilt, because this is what you do, and, you know, what would Spider-Man do, and this kid looked up to you, and then having the Mary Jane, you know, supporting Peter at the end, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome, I loved it. So glad I got both variant covers, because it's really both of the things I loved about this issue. So I gotta give this 5 stars. Best issue I read this week. This is my pick of the week. Enjoyed the hell out of this as again, as a Fantastic Four fan, as a Mary Jane Peter fan. This is what I want Amazing Spider-Man to be. And maybe one day it will be having Mary Jane and Spider-Man, you know, married again or together again. That's really what I want. And having, like, these old, really fun issues. You know, I love story arc stuff. You guys know I like being shocked, and I do. But sometimes you need a fun issue like this, and this is just pure fun. Gotta give this 5 stars. I love this issue. So, pick of the week. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. And guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and their end situations. And don't forget to like my Facebook page. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.